Well, hello, White Sox fans. Welcome to another edition of White Sox Daily Life. My name is Ian Eskridge. I'm here with my co-host, D. Danny Miller. How you doing, Danny?
Ah, I'm doing well, man. You know, just getting through the grind of the workday here lately and patiently waiting for regular season baseball to begin, but you know, all in all, enjoying watching a little bit of the WBC and catching as many highlights as I can of the untelevised Sox spring training games. But here we are, man. So Uh, you know, all in all, pretty well, man. How you doing, bro?
Oh, not too bad. I don't know
You
if you
licking your
heard or
wounds over here?
yeah, I don't know if you heard or not, but hey, Xavier, how you doing? Thanks. Um, yeah, I was in
What's
the
up, Roddy?
the 108 tourney today, and summarily got my whoopings and lost 65 to 35%. Wah wah. But I'm just
Hey,
happy that I didn't get single digit votes. So
right.
that's a step in the right direction.
This is
So
the five or six of us over here at White Sox Daily.
yeah, I mean, it was kind of one of those things, like when I got added, I was completely surprised. Um, didn't have any idea that was happening. So that was, it was a pleasant surprise. But the way I looked at it was, I kind of figured I wasn't gonna win. Lost to Southside Mofo, which hey, there's no shame in in losing. Lots of big names went down today. James Fox from Future Sox ended up losing, and Nick Morowski also. I mean, it's like my Sox Summer, who's part of from the 108. He also got ousted today. So like I got no shame in it. The way I look at it, is that it gets eyes on the site, and I got some new followers, and followed some new people on White Sox Twitter today, and it's all about coming together as a community, as far as I'm concerned. No salt here.
Absolutely.
So, um, but yeah,
Absolutely.
everything else is great. Got our last indoor practice for my kids' team coming up on Saturday, so finally start getting outside here. Although I don't know if the weather's going to cooperate, but you know, getting back outside and doing some nice outfield practice and actually being able to hit actual pop ups for kids to practice and stuff. So that'd be cool. Um, yeah, other than that, everything's good. Can't complain. I can complain that the White Sox again at Camelback Ranch today were not televised again.
Oh, unbelievable, man. Five total spring training games, according to what I've found listed. Is that right? There's going to
Well,
be
on
a total
on
of five.
Comcast Sports, yeah, there are some more webcasts, and if like some of the other teams on have on their website as well, have broadcast some, and on their TV networks. So there's more than that, but like I thought today was televised. It was on it said on the list, it said it was on A's Cast, which I find out. Like I didn't know what A's Cast was, and who knows what the heck these teams call their thing. But A's Cast is literally internet radio. So I got to listen to the game on the radio. So that was something, but certainly not what you want for a Dylan Cease second start, especially after point 0.2 of an inning with 11 runs allowed. Every guy you let
Yeah.
on base in your last outing scored. Like I was interested to see what Cease was doing out there, and he did manage to get some outs. I think he went 3.1 with four strikeouts. I think
Yep.
tightened up his slider after the first inning, from what I understand. Um, so at least the numbers were a little bit better, and from what James Fegan said, is that his velocity was up a couple of miles an hour, so that's good as well. But like we didn't really get to see a, what we need to see, because there's literally no broadcast. There was a couple of highlights they put up on Twitter, but that's about it. So Kind of annoying.
Yeah, yeah, I have to agree. Uh, maybe it's because of the WBC. I don't really know. There's a lot of coverage on that, but most of it's FS1. You might get a game or two on MLB Network, but for the most part, it's been FS1. And I don't even, to be honest with you, is MLB Network even
They play
playing?
replays in the
I
morning
was gonna say
following
they're
the
not.
game for Team USA anyway.
Yeah, they're not doing any live games, so I don't know. I was thinking maybe it was a coverage thing. Maybe it was. I don't honestly. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. And we kind of go through this every you know spring training and camp where we're hoping to see more. But I feel like this season, it's really kind of a huge dip. At least it feels that way to me. I don't know. Maybe we're just anxious. What do you think?
I don't know. It's like I felt like last year that there was a lot more games televised than this year. And some of it was there was more webcast than others, and that's why we saw more. But hey, I'm into that. And from the rumors that I had heard was that it was due to due to lack of fan interest, which I find hard to believe. Um, yeah, it's kind of aggravating. I mean, I do understand that there was
Lack
more
of
excitement going into last year than this year, just because of the way that the White Sox have handled more or less everything over the last year. Between the subpar play last year and the fact that they hired TLR and people, the first year were okay with it because at least they made the playoffs and they had a good record. But then after last year, everybody was, out for TLR's head from, I don't know, like 2 weeks into the season. So,
pretty much.
yeah. So, I mean, I get it why, like maybe they want to shield Pedro a little bit, possibly, and maybe that might have something to do with it. But even still, in this day and age, you know, if we can see the highlights because they still have all the cameras and they're still doing all of that, which they are, put it up with no announcer. That's fine. Nobody cares.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
need to.
Exactly.
I don't need that.
No, I can. I can listen to whatever in the background. Honestly, if I had the opportunity, I'd sit here and listen to my dog snore while they lay on my couch and leave me sitting on the floor, and I can at least watch some baseball. You know what I mean? It, it just the whole thing about lack of fan interest, and I get what you're saying, shielding uh our new manager, Mr. Grifol. Uh, but again, going back to I've talked about this once or twice before. Going back to this, this new mantra of the team this year is, we have to we're gonna have to go out and prove it to our fans. We want to earn your respect back. You know what I mean? Uh, I don't think most people are not judging spring training results. They just want to see those guys play. So yeah, sure, there's going to be a handful of those meatballs that are meatballing. You know what I mean? And I don't really like using that term anymore because it just whatever. But that's going to happen regardless if you broadcast.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. If you're just stat line watching and you see somebody striking out, but you're not seeing what their, like
You're not
what
seeing
their
the whole
approach
at
is or
bat, right?
anything. Yeah.
So I mean, it almost is worse in my opinion when you put it like that. But whatever. Baseball's coming. I'm in a much better mood here lately. And I don't want to, I don't want to piss and moan about it all night. So it is what it is. I'm looking forward to the season. I've got my tickets for the home opener, and I'll be there, probably wearing a three parkas and a couple of toques and a beanie. But hey, I'm ready to go, man.
Yeah. 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 Again, what like we mentioned it last week when we were talking about the offensive numbers. Is that we were 10 games into spring training at the point, and I think now we're at 17. They're 16 technically because they played against Columbia and ended up losing that game. But to be honest, like the starting lineup that they put out there was less than stellar.
Well, I mean, you had most of your stars are playing on classic teams right now. So,
Well, I mean, yeah, a few of them, but I mean, still, you know, it's like I looked at the starting lineup and I was like, this is probably going to go so well, and sure enough, it didn't. I mean, Jesse Schulten started the game, and yeah, no, it wasn't too hot, but hey, I mean, again, if you're stat watching, it can look a little bit more rough than it is, and it being the summer, and the thought that it's still early, which people said a lot last year. But one thing that does not, that you will see in the stat line, and it is equally as ugly, is watching Larry Garcia play baseball. He's been absolutely terrible.
ooh, fine by me.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah,
Fine by me. Because I'll be honest with you. The last thing I wanted to see was Leary show out, and somehow we wiggle his way onto this roster. And again, no offense to Leary, I appreciate the things that he did, and he did especially well in like 19 and 20. You know, and I shouldn't say especially well, but for him especially well, where he got us through some tough seasons, did some things right, but overall it just hasn't been awesome. And it's time to move on and see what else we have in the bag here. Are you with me?
yeah, yeah. Sorry, I was just I had to fix a audio setting that I had set. Yeah, no, I agree. But the thing is that I'm not confident that even though he's playing complete, like just the mental errors from this guy alone. I mean, it would be at least somewhat okay. If he was having a decent, if he looked decent offensively, or if he had a repeated, like a history of being above average in any facet of the game, I would be okay with it. But the mental errors are inexcusable. Like if he had, if like I said, if he had a history and his numbers were down, okay, fine. It's just spring training. But the fact that he's still making these mental errors, you know, 10 years into a major league career, however many years it is, I'm trying to,
Yeah, I think
pretty
we're
close to
at
10
10.
years. Yeah.
I think we're at 10 right now. I
Yeah.
think the end of last season was 10, if I'm not mistaken.
And you're still seeing him not tag up on a line drive to center field because he forgets how many outs there are. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I mean, that guy just drives me nuts. And it's not like it's a new problem for him. This is just like a constant normal thing, is that he's, missing ground balls that he should probably get to, and he's making mental errors, base running mistakes. Today, he whiffed on a bunt,
Oh,
and
a hit and run
Victor,
bunt they were calling.
yeah, it looked like it was a called play, like not necessarily a sacrifice, but a hit and run. And Larry whiffed on it, and then Victor Reyes got backpicked at first base because there was no contact made. It's stuff like that where it's just
Yeah, and I gotta wonder
mental.
too, like, was that a hit and run called from the dugout, and Leori himself decided I'm not swinging it real well right now, so I've got to put wood on the ball. I'm just gonna try to drop a bunt. Like, was that? Because honestly, I don't think maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that call is not coming from the dugout.
Yeah, well, possibly, but the thing is that I see him like in almost every at bat. He tries to bunt the first pitch. And it's like you're not fooling anybody, and you're not any good at bunting. So what are we doing here? And then he turns around in that same at bats and hits a double to the wall. At that point, I don't even care that he hit a double because just like the fundamental mistakes are just so aggravating. So I'm just kind of
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, don't make yourself look like a fool every at bat. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I like that you mentioned, like not tagging up. But there's the other side of that too. Didn't he just get doubled off on a fly ball, not knowing how many outs there were?
There was that one.
Because I'm just saying there's both sides of the coin there, not knowing how many outs and not tagging, but then there's the running on contact when there's only one out in the inning and it's a fly ball that's easily playable.
What's up, Grimtall? How you doing?
And getting doubled off, you know what I mean? Why, thank you, Grimtall. I do appreciate that. I noticed, I haven't brought it up, but I noticed both Ian and I are sporting different versions of the Knights hats
Oh, true. You've got
right now.
this is from last year. This one.
Yeah, I've got the new color scheme.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
Yeah, you got the 5950. My fave is the 3930, just because I'm a backwards hat kind of guy most of the time. So it just looks better.
I was when I was
on me.
a young buck, but now I always wear them forwards. I don't know what changed. I don't know what the thing was. Maybe as the Fred Durst got me, and I couldn't do it anymore after that. Grimtall says,
Yeah.
"Did you get the night schedule with it? Has Eric Johnson on the card?" Like the the models that they use to portray the Knights' new uniform changes were kind of surprising to me. I don't think 2 or 3 of them are either 2 or 3 of them are not with the team anymore.
Right.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and delete this comment. Dumpstered. Wow. Bots. Yikes. Anywho, yeah, so Dylan Cease went today. Gave up a run. Actually, I think he gave up 2 runs in the first inning again today.
He did.
And the first inning was a little bit rough, but after that, yeah, you're not a mod. I'll give you mod if you want mod. Never asked for mod. But
I mean, he's here every week. We might as well.
I know,
just
you know what
do
I'm
it.
saying? Yeah, it's
What's
not
the
like
point, the guy.
Not like he mods for a guy with 20 million subs a month or anything like that.
You've been, we're both sitting here wearing our Knights hats, so we should just go ahead and knight him. You've been anointed.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. That's pretty good. Good. Dub him. Put the sword on his shoulders. I mean, he gave me a sword after all, so I do have a sword that I can do it with.
Right on. There you go.
Yeah. So, word is Dylan may struggle with the pitch clock since he goes to rosin every pitch. Yeah, I saw them saying there was a couple of guys that were talking about. There was a question asked by White Sox who is going to have the most trouble with the pitch clock, and some people said it was going to be Matt Foster, and somebody said Giolito. A couple guys said Cease. I don't know. Some people said Kopech as well. I'll tell you
thought
what.
It was going to be Clevenger, and he's actually, in that one start, didn't look awful with the pitch clock.
Yeah, I think he had one pitch clock violation. I think Clevenger did. Yeah. Which, I mean, in all reality, all things considered, with it being his first official appearance, not in a B game and not on a backfield, one isn't too bad. I'll take it. I don't know if did you happen to see Zach Collins His his
Oh, getting rung up.
uh yeah, hilarious.
Yeah, for walking around outside the batter's box.
Yeah,
I
you
did
go
catch
on
that.
a Mick Dundee walkabout after you foul a ball off. You're probably you're probably gonna get an automatic strike called on you. Yeah, but I mean, all things considered, I thought Dylan Cease, with the numbers, obviously I didn't see it, but hearing the reports and everything, things are looking up. And did you happen to catch the WBC game last night for the U.S. and see Lance Lynn pitch at all?
I did. I absolutely did. I watched the whole thing, and Lance Lynn looked like he was absolutely lights out.
He's ready.
He was a filthy, filthy stuff up there, man. Yeah, he looks ready. The knee looked good. He was planting well. He had the movement, the everything, the command. It was all there. It was all there. And I'm sure you probably have something to add to that, but I'm just
Well,
kind of trying to keep it short and sweet here. It was all there.
I mean, we watched. I watched his last his game with the White Sox that he pitched, and he looked pretty good then. And
Right?
then it looked like a logical progression for for the for where he should be at this point in spring training. You know,
Yeah.
they get
How many
into
pitches did he have yesterday? I mean, he went through he completed 5 innings and he only had like 60 pitches.
yeah, I want to say it was like 62 pitches, I think, and
I mean, he was efficient, effective.
yeah, I want to say through 40 was at like 45 or something like that, and
Yeah.
you know, like what 17 pitches or whatever to make it make it through. So yeah, no, he looked good. Still, good command and movement on his various fastballs and whatever. So it's I think he's ready. He's ready to get back to get back here, be healthy, and hopefully come back here and be completely healthy, and that we don't have to worry about any of this injury stuff this year. And
Oh,
hoping that most of these guys stay healthy for the most part.
knock on some wood.
Yeah, it's after last year, I don't see how the team couldn't be at least reasonably more healthy.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to get much worse, really.
Yeah, yeah. Last year, if last year wasn't worst case scenario for a team, I don't know what else could be. Grimtall mentions that TA looks ready too. Team USA teammate of Lance Lynn. Yeah, he's doing a decent job of making contact like normal, and he had a triple last night, and yeah, I mean he looks like pretty much where he left off before, like before Memorial Day last year, where he
Right.
was getting multiple hits in a game and good contact, and that's nice to see. And he played second base yesterday.
He did. And didn't look terrible. Did not look terrible. Had some range. I was it was interesting to say the least. He had a couple plays that were, fairly routine. His first ever play at second base. He did trip on the throw to first. Almost let one get away from him, but he pulled it together and got the ball in there and made the quick out. But yeah, it was definitely different just to see him on that side of the field.
Yeah, well, I mean, just the slight difference in footwork over there. I'm sure that he was probably pretty nervous with it being his first time at second base. I mean, I can, Elvis Andrus said the same thing, that he, it was like really weird for him to be over at second base. So I can only imagine that TA is feeling pretty much the same way. So
Yeah, yeah. It I mean, I've never done it at the level these guys are doing it, but I've played a little bit of just about every spot on the diamond at some point in my life, and it makes it even weirder being a lefty. But from going from one side of the diamond to the other side of the diamond, the different angles and that you have to make a throw to it's just it's pretty wild. But Tim handled it well, and if I'm not mistaken, now it's only 3 games into the WBC, but he's hitting, I think they said 571, if I'm not mistaken. I heard on the broadcast at the end of the game last night. It's pretty good. I mean,
Can't
it's
complain.
pretty okay.
Um, Speaking of things that were okay, did you happen to catch any of the Korea China game yesterday morning? I wouldn't imagine that you
Uh,
did because you were at work, unless you popped on the
was that
TV before you went to work. But
that was a blowout, right?
22-2.
I think I did actually see a little bit of it. So I have a sick dog. One of my 3 is, got some issues, but last night, I don't know, she had a seizure or something. What we were actually thinking she might have had a stroke.
Mm-hmm.
And she's fine today. Went to the vet and had a little checkup just to make sure, but she's doing well. Anyways, I was up like for the better part of the night. So I actually did catch, I think it was like 11-0. And it was only like the first or second inning or something that I was looking at. I was like, wow, this
Yeah,
is this is
I think it
bad.
was like 12-1 in like the third inning or something like that. And yeah, it was just real. I mean, I felt bad because you just saw the look on the Chinese manager's face, and you're just like, once it gets to that point, it's just like grin and bear it until it's over.
Yeah. So what did you say? It ended up being like 23-1?
22-2.
22-2. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that ended in the 5th inning, I'm assuming, with the mercy rule.
Yeah, yeah, it didn't go on too long. Um,
Yeah.
I was afraid that the Mexico USA game was going to turn out like that because that one started ugly. I think it was like what 7-1 or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, Ended up finishing I
Yeah.
think 12-7.
I think they were like 11-2 going into the 8th inning.
Yeah. Um,
So, yeah, they pulled it together a little bit at the end there.
if you guys are not saying that I want you guys to leave right now, but Sox Machine and From the 108 are doing watch parties. I forget what the website's called, but they're doing these watch parties. So if you guys are watching those, it's a good time to go and hop in there and talk in the chat and whatever, and get some actual interesting conversations going instead of listening to John Smoltz. Holy cow, is that guy brutal to listen to?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's not terrible when he's doing his little, you know, segments on MLB Network because he's pretty limited in his time. You know what I mean? But you get a full game of this guy talking in the background. You're like, oh, I need some more Jason Benetti. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Give
yeah,
me more of that.
that was one of the talking points is that usually Benetti can make anybody sound halfway decent. I mean, he took Bill Walton, and Bill Walton's never. I don't even know if Bill Walton had even seen a baseball before this game, and made him, at least sound, at least somewhat entertaining. And like, no matter what he does, he just can't help out Smoltz. There's nothing that can be done for this dude. So
No, I'm in full agreement on that one. Like I said, man, I don't mind him on MLB Network, but he's limited and he's had time to do his homework for whatever segment he's working on. You know what I mean? But you give this guy, he's got to go off the hip, shooting from the hip. Oh, not so much, man.
yeah, no, the guy is genuinely not any fun to listen to. I don't know like what his deal is, but he's got some of that red ass old time rules of baseball in him.
Yeah, he
That just
does.
makes him just not any fun at all. And yeah, it's just got hats off. Got to
Oh,
swap out.
yeah,
See
he's
what
one
I
of those
get.
guys that. Yeah, you know what? Let me dig around here. Think. Oh, I got one I haven't worn on the show yet. Here. All right. Bust out a new one that I haven't worn on the show. go. Let's see what Ian comes up with here. Hey, I like that one.
Old school dash.
Yeah.
Older school dash,
I went
anyway.
and I went with older school cursive White
Ah,
Sox.
the cursive White Sox.
The curse of Chicago in the old gray scheme.
Yeah, I got a question. And I hear
Hopefully I have an answer.
I often hear the same response. So I'm just kind of curious. If you were to see one uniform come back and make some appearances, which uniform would you pick?
The 1917, hands down.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I really like the stars. I like the Sox emblem with the stars. It's just I don't know what it is because I look at that Cowboys uniform and I think it's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's just a little biased because I'm a hater.
Yeah. I mean, that
Not
could have
gonna
something
lie,
to do with it. Yeah.
but I do like the old 1917 Sox logo with the stars in there. So yeah. How about you, man? What's yours?
Like the one that I hear a lot.
Oh, please don't bring up that powder blue.
No, 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 no. The one I hear a lot is the vest, the vest jersey that they took
Yeah,
away.
the old softball jersey.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people miss that one, and that's a lot of people's favorite. And I've actually almost had one custom made for myself. Um, just gotten a regular jersey and have the sleeves tailored off. I've thought about doing that because why the heck not? Um,
Every time I think about that jersey, for some reason, the only guy I can really picture wearing it is AJ.
See, I think of Aaron Rowan a lot when I think of that jersey.
Okay.
Um, Grimtall says 1990 pre-black pinstripes, the curly C's. I don't know if I could do that one. I don't even
Yeah, no,
I don't even own that hat. I mean, I should get one
no.
because I have almost every other one, so I should probably have it. But for whatever reason, I just don't have it.
Isn't it Rudels is a fan of that one too, isn't he?
I mean,
Old Colty?
he should be. I don't. He doesn't have one either. Um.
Pretty sure I think I remember him saying something about that somewhere along the way.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. White Sox premium case says Konerko. Yeah, him in that vest as well.
Yeah. Canerco, yeah, those are the two that really pop up for me is Canerco and AJ. That for some reason when I think back to that vest.
Yeah.
Speaking of, long time no see there. Premium.
Ah, yes, and Carlos Lee. See, now we get all these nice throwbacks
God.
to back to that time when they had that vest jersey. I like that one a lot. I don't know. I could be persuaded for a bunch of the uniforms. Like I like the 59 uh uniforms a lot. I like the one after that. I don't really I would say that I don't dislike any White Sox uniform except for those the ones that Chris Sale cut off, cut apart with the scissors.
Yeah,
That
which one was that again? That
that
was
was the
the
butterfly collar, the one from
oh yeah, the
1976 ish,
yeah, that was the uniform.
75 ish.
Yeah, I remember.
Which I like the
That
hat.
was the one where they wore the shorts with at one time
Yes.
too, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, I could
Yeah.
I could do without I could do without the collar. I mean I don't really particularly care for the font either on those, but the hat that was worn at the time, I didn't mind that so much.
Yeah, see that's how I feel about the red and white color scheme.
Mm.
I'm not particularly fond of the font on that one, and I don't see a lot of red when I think of the White Sox.
Yeah, and that's when they
And
had
that's
the
that's a bright fire engine red, you know what I mean?
it is, yeah. And they had the powder blue at this, at that time as well with that
those are
red
and
hat.
it's both of those are my least favorite uniforms. Although if I had to choose one of the two, I would take the powder blue over the full red and white scheme.
Yeah, I'd say like Grimtall says those jerseys are awesome. Are you talking about the butterfly collar ones? If you're talking
Yeah, I
about the
think he
butterfly
is talking
collar
about
ones,
those.
he probably is. He probably wants the shorts too.
You
Um,
know, got to show off those massive man thighs.
yeah, I'm into it if we get like the old like crushed velvet helmets, that they had back in the way back days, like the early '50s type thing. Jimmy Connor shorts. Yeah, exactly. Um,
You get the old late 70s, early 80s gym teacher shorts.
the bike shorts where it actually
Yeah,
says bike on them.
yeah, the old nut huggers.
Ish. The nice two snap buttons on the front. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, Michael Kopech, his outing very impressive. Getting back to
Yeah, he looked really
the
good.
pitchers, um, his changeup was fantastic, and the one issue that I had with Kopech's outing is that it went by way too quick.
Yeah, yeah, I'll kind of agree with that.
I mean, three innings when you're going like 11 pitches an inning, that's too fast. So it's like
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it
no,
though.
it's
I mean,
great.
it's if you're at a game, you're a fan at a game, and you get up to you know hit the head or grab yourself a cold one, you might miss an entire inning.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like 10 pitches. Like, this is one thing. Thank you for that, Coach. Storm Coach says the Eradicator is not only a good looking dude, he is also one hell of a guy. I appreciate it, pal. Good to see you in
Who
here,
is this?
Coach.
Is that your mom?
No, it is not my mom. Um, I don't even know what her
Hi, mom.
I don't know what her screen name is, but that's not it. Um, but the issue here that I am gonna have if at games like this is if he does say he goes 7 innings and he goes 100 pitches.
It only takes him like 40 minutes to get there.
Yeah, so think about this. If that game is a gift giveaway, if he's pitching
Right,
like
you're gonna
that
miss the
and
first 4 innings.
exactly, you're going to get in the fourth inning because before you would get to your seats like, if you're lucky,
Second,
you'll get there in
third.
in the beginning of the second inning, you know. But that was when there's normal innings. If they fly, you've got both teams go up and down in order twice. You'll be lucky to get into your seats by the third inning at that point with these new
Yeah,
rules.
lucky. Yeah, and going back to what me saying, if you get up to get yourself a drink or something, or go to the bathroom, premium says, how about getting concessions? Well, yeah, that's a 3 inning loss right there, because we all know the pace of some of those stands is not the greatest. And don't get me wrong, I give kudos to the folks working those stands, because they're out there hustling, man. I used to work at the ballpark for a third party company, third party partner of the White Sox, and I watch what those guys went through, and they hump out there. Problem is sometimes they don't always have the amount of help they should to handle a large crowd. So it gets a little lengthy and waits at times.
Yeah, and if you use the app to get stuff delivered to you, if it takes like 25 minutes, and you're waiting for your food to show up and you just have to go to the bathroom, you come back, the guy could have come and just handed your food to any random person that happens to be sitting in your row and your food's gone forever. So then what? Then you have to, then you have to go up and try and find, food anyway. It's just not good. Surratt was talking about the money he speed up the game will cost in concession. Yeah, no, I saw that the most of the minor league clubs said that for the most part they don't really notice a whole lot lost with the pitch clock, but I don't know, man. I mean, people are still gonna go and enjoy, what they're doing. It's just how much less of the game are they gonna see.
Well, and I think that might be, yeah, there's a definite there's a definite what should I say, legit gripe there, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I did see someone on Twitter, some guy, I can't remember the name. I don't think he's, one of the recognizable White Sox Twitter guys, but says he drives like, 5 hours or 7 hours one way to come to games. And, he's like, the speeded up game. He's like, nah, I get caught in traffic or whatever, and I don't get in until the second inning and then our third inning or whatever. And the game's half over by the time I get there. And then I got to turn around and drive back or pay for a hotel room if I don't want to. I get that. You know what I mean? You're paying, you just, the game's shorter. The time at the stadium is shorter, but the price of the ticket isn't going to drop. You know what I mean? You're getting less time. You're paying the same amount or more in some cases, as we saw with the new price changes. Uh, yeah, I get all that. And then the other thing too, we're talking about concessions and how the miners didn't see any, real major dips in revenues lost. You got to look at some of these minor league clubs too. Like some of them are in stadiums that hold 15,000 as opposed to 40,000 plus in some of these major league ballparks. I don't really know.
Well, yeah, and then you also have to look is even if their stadium only seats like 4,000 people, there might only be 50 people there. Like
But
on a
that
on
right,
a like on
exactly.
a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night, there might not be anybody there. And
Right.
if you're not seeing like much lost revenue, well, that's because there's the 15 people there that are buying hot dogs and they can walk right straight up to the window and not have to worry about waiting in line.
Right.
You know,
Right.
um, one thing I did think about, as far as this goes, is that the owners are still providing concessions, and if they're still doing the same amount, like reasonably close to the same amount of money, a quicker game means that they only have their employees on for, you know, they
This is
take
true.
45 minutes of pay out of their, expenditures that they have to pay.
Right. And then, there's also the food cost of the product that's not going out because of shorter games. But, then again, I mean, cost versus profit at a place like that is probably, you know, 300%, if not more.
Yeah, White
Or I
Sox.
should say, the other way around.
Yeah, White Sox premium case says it's way overpriced anyway. Maybe people will finally stop paying because of cost and time lost in game. Yeah, I mean it's possible. I mean it's if you're paying full price for everything, and you don't have season tickets, so you're not getting like a little bit of a price knockoff, for buying in bulk like that and going to every single game and all that stuff. Then it gets really expensive going to games. So like I get that point of view. Yeah, no, I think that this whole thing's gonna kind of change things financially for maybe it won't happen right away, but you might see a little
Gave
shift
his
in how
beer
things
money.
are going.
Grimtel says he gave his beer money to Bennett to put up the billboards.
Yeah, I should bring that up if anybody hasn't seen these things. I'm gonna hold on, bring that up here in a second.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Those are two of them up there, right? He's got
I
one on
There's one on 31st Street. I don't know if there's another one or not. I thought that it was going to be multiples, but
I think there's
um,
one at like 34th or right between 34th and 35th in Halstead as well.
possibly.
I think there's two. So there's the one on 31st Street.
All right. I got this thing up here. Go swap this thing over here. What's that? You know,
Voice
it,
some dissatisfaction.
yeah, and some people are saying that it looks bad on the fans and it's not classy. And just my whole thought is, who cares at this point? You know, I mean, from the things that they've, from the way the team has been run, I fine, I get it.
Right.
Yes, $17 drafts are definitely overpriced, Coach. I know, it's tough, tough to fathom that somebody would complain about that. Along the uh,
Uh,
video go dead, or is it just? Oh, it was just you. Yeah, no, our video's good. Yeah, so I don't know. We didn't talk about pitching at all last week, so I definitely wanted to get into it a little bit this week. Lane Ramsey pitched today, gave up a run. He had looked fairly decent otherwise. Jose Ruiz has been doing really good in the WBC. He's 2-0, and I think he struck out 2 in his game yesterday or today. I can't remember when they played, but he did all right. And some of the relievers have looked pretty good. Franklin Herman, who we got from the Red Sox, he's looked really good. Not that that should be much of a surprise because he was a reliever of the year in the Red Sox system last year. Um, I still am I'm trying to understand why the Red Sox traded Franklin Herman for Theo Denlinger.
yeah.
I still I at the time when I heard about that deal, I was like, oh yeah, because I saw him pitch last year, and I knew he was the reliever of the year for them last year. But the return, it just like that deal just didn't make sense to me. Like I just don't understand it. I know that Red Sox fans have been complaining about Bloom.
Holheim.
Yeah, I know that they had been complaining about him, but like this one just I why would you
Yeah,
do
it's a
that?
head scratcher.
I don't
It's a head
understand.
scratcher.
Like I mean, and the thing is that it's not like I'm saying that Theo Denlinger is bad.
No, but Franklin Herman
Yeah,
was
Theo
pretty
Denlinger
stinking
wasn't the
good.
reliever of the year last year. Like he was okay, and he does have some stuff. I that one just kind of puzzled me a little bit, but hey, I'll take it. And yeah, he's looked really good.
I
Um,
just hope it doesn't come out that he's like some kind of locker room cancer, and that's why they let him go. I don't know. I'm not putting that out there in the ether. Let me just put that disclaimer forward.
Ladder Enjoyer brings up that they wanted a 40-man spot, and he's not sure why they thought Herman would clear waivers. No, that's exactly my point. Is that if you're gonna, I mean, they did the same thing with Jeter Downs, and he didn't clear waivers either. Like if you're going to, and like Jeter Downs, like he did not look good when they brought him up. Herman did. It's
Right.
just you got like the Red Sox don't have that many players that they can't put somebody out there that's not the reliever of the year or like one of your top ranked, like one of the top ranked prospects in baseball. Like it's just knowing Han's vetting process, he probably a serial
Oh.
killer. Oh, come on, man. You're not wrong.
And
I'm not mad at you, but oh man. Um you doing all right over there?
sorry, I had to mute myself. I was choking on that one. That's funny stuff, man. That's funny stuff.
All right, but I mean, to letter enjoyer's point is if you wanted to clear a 40-man spot, so you put Franklin Herman passing through waivers. My question is that if that's the case, the best that they could do for their reliever of the year for last year was Theo Denlinger.
Yeah.
Kind of just weird. Um, Gregory Santos also been pretty impressive in his innings so far this year. Um, and then the other guy that they got from the Giants on the Rule 5, Nick Avila, also looked pretty stinking good. I mean, he's had a little bit rougher of a time than Santos and Herman, but again, with his deception on his delivery and the results that they've had, and the fact that they have to keep him on the roster for this year. Do you think that they're going? I mean, I know like James Fox thinks it's a foregone conclusion that he's sticking throughout the year. Are you kind of the same thought there that Nick Avila is not going anywhere?
I'm I'm kind of on the fence. I don't really know. Um, I feel like you could probably go either way, but it just seems like Nick is like you said, he's had a little bit less. He's had an easier path, let's just say at this point. Uh, it's I don't know, man. Bullpen is one of those things where you could probably shake it up 30 times before the end of the season. There's gonna and I don't say mean shake it up overall, but there's gonna be some shuffling of the deck throughout the season. So, you know, when we say stick with the team for the season, I don't know. Maybe he might make the opening day roster, stick around for a while. If things don't work out that way, they might, take a stab at somebody else. So it's really hard for me to say if he's gonna stick. So I'll just say, yeah, there's a good chance he's gonna make the opening day roster and kind of leave it at that. What do you think?
Well, I don't. I'll start with this. I don't dislike Jake Diekman personally, um, but I will say I don't know how you justify keeping Diekman around, despite the one issue is that I think Diekman's making $3.5 million. So if you DFA him, you're out $3.5 million. Um, if you can find a trading partner to get rid of him and trade him for I don't know for whatever else, but the issue for me,
I feel like with him, you'd have to almost package him with something else because he's been, as you would say, I'm gonna take a page out of your book. He's been cheeks.
yeah, he doesn't look good. He hasn't looked very good in Arizona either. And like we had this talk that pitches don't move necessarily like that they will when they come up. But the issue is that it's just his command's not been good. And it more or less looks exactly like how he looked last year. It looks like nothing's different, and he's left-handed, so that part's good. Especially since you have no Crochet, and it's possible that you don't have Bummer at the very beginning of the year for at least for a couple of weeks. So having somebody left-handed is good. Um, but you're not gonna say Crochet comes. up, or like obviously Bummer's going to come back. You want to have some left-handed, arms in the pen. This makes it sort of more difficult, keeping this extra $3.5 million on the roster. When it comes down time for somebody that's going to be looking for, just somebody to eat innings as a reliever, you're looking like almost all-star break. You can't. I don't know. I think that they're going to keep Avila just because I think that they like what he does enough to keep him. And then if you have to send him back, you have to pay to send him back, or you have to offer. You eat half of the money giving him back that you had to pay to get him in the Rule 5 anyway. And he has. I don't think that he hasn't. I don't think he has done anything to not be here. So I think that he stays. And as much as I'd like to see Ruiz go and Diekman go, I just don't know if they're going to be willing to eat that money, And what are you going to do? You're going to send him to AAA? I mean, I guess you could try and send Diekman to AAA and just eat the money, And I have to imagine, you put him and send him to Charlotte, you don't have to necessarily worry about somebody grabbing him on waivers. But I don't think, I don't think he's going to, he might not accept the assignment if that's. I'd have to look and see like if he's got like any options or anything like that. I don't know at what point he loses those or whatever. Ladder says that Diekman likely sticks until Crochet is back. Yeah, I mean, I just don't know if he's as good as what would replace him, and I know he's left-handed, but at what point, at some point, if you're not getting, if you've got a 1.5 whip,
runs.
I don't care what hand you throw the ball with,
Right, exactly.
So,
and I mean, I get you're talking about eating the money, but if we're at a point now where we're looking at a new management group, new coaching staff, new strength and conditioning staff, and all these changes that have been made throughout the organization, and we're trying to win back your respect, and we're gonna show you this mantra of we're gonna do things differently, and we're gonna show you that we still have heart, and blah blah blah. But we're also talking about Leury Garcia maybe not making the MLB roster. Quite frankly, I wouldn't mind, God, I don't want to talk about anybody being DFA'd, but if anybody's going to be DFA'd, I think it would be him. Where are you going to stick him? You don't want to put him ahead of some of these guys that need to play every day down in the minors. So if we're willing to eat, if we're talking about being willing to eat the $5.5 million that Leary is going to make this year, why not just throw another 3.5 on top of it?
yeah,
I know how Unky Jared loves to throw money away, but some of these contracts that we're signing, instead of putting 24 million on a guy who deserves it, we're splitting it up between 6 guys who are just kind of meh.
yeah.
Why not just go ahead and throw away $8-9 million between 2 guys that are not going to help you do anything?
Yeah, so you've got obviously you're going to be carrying Sebi because you need to have a backup catcher. Hence, there's no way that you can let Hanser Alberto not be on the roster.
Yeah,
And
I
then
agree.
you're going to want an outfielder of some sort. And here's one that I struggle with because Marisnik has looked terrible, and so has Billy Hamilton. And the issue for me with Hamilton is that he hasn't looked very good defensively either, which is surprising for me. Like he's misjudged some balls along the wall, and not what I'm used to seeing from Billy Hamilton. Like it just, and I mean, you go on past production, of his defensive is that he's generally really good defensively and at stealing bases, but not good at hitting. But
Right.
this year,
He's
his
never been a
defense hasn't
big
looked all
hitter.
that great. Yeah, and Berger has, he's been hitting home runs, but the thing is, he's been striking out at like a 40% clip as well.
Yeah, that's all he's doing is hitting home runs. He's not doing much else.
Yeah, he did. He walked today, and then he
What?
managed to get doubled off at first base on a really nice catch in left field because from what the A's broadcast team
Yeah, that
said,
was
because
weird.
again, we're talking about an unbroadcasted home game that they have all the video of. But apparently he didn't touch second base on his way back to first base.
Yeah, it sounded it's from some White Sox daily tweets that I was looking at today. It sounded like Jake Berger was not happy
He was not
either with
pleased.
himself or with the umpiring staff.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was upset with the umpire, but I think he probably touched second base and they just missed it or whatever. I don't know, but regardless, like Jake has not done all he could do to stick, because his defense is not good at first base. He's had a couple of errors there. And even in his natural position at third base, his glove's still a question. It's not the range, it's not his speed, it's the glove. He botches it with the glove. And that one's a hard one because he's right-handed. And generally, if you're going to try and keep a guy around, it would be somebody more along the lines of Sheets, where he's a left-handed pinch hitter, unless your roster's really left-handed heavy, which it's not. It's better now with Benintendi and Colas around, but it's still not, not equal.
Well,
So
hopefully, a healthy Yaz. Moncada hitting from both sides of the dish. It's definitely a more balanced lineup than it has been in some time. But yeah, I mean, if you see these guys that can play the outfield but can't hit on a team that has struggled with offense the last two seasons, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Like, make sense for us, Gavin Sheets to have a spot on this team. But now that we're starting to see some of that kind of subpar play from those guys, you couldn't make an excuse for them.
yeah, and
Do I
that
want to see that? Not necessarily, because I really don't ever want to see Gavin Sheets in the outfield again.
no, for sure.
But
And like
oh,
the thing is like if you watch Marisnik, like his thing was supposed to be that he is a very, he's a plus defender in the outfield for a not super fast guy. He's supposed to have a really good glove. You can expect to get like a 225 average out of him, with like a okay OBP, in comparison, and not much of an OPS, to speak of. But the thing is, he's supposed to be good defensively, and it's like I've seen him playing in the outfield, and he's made some pretty awful plays out there as well. So it's just
now again, it's spring, so we don't want to put too much weight into this now. But these are the moments when you want these guys to shine if they're gonna, if you've got a positional battle, and even if that position is fourth outfielder. You know what I mean? You don't want to have those moments where somebody, knock on wood, one of our starters goes down, or there's going to be times when the guy needs a day off, and you don't want to punt a game just because the guy on the bench is awful.
it's early.
Yeah, it's early.
It's early.
I don't. Yeah, I really don't want to hear any of that this year.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my issue here is that if you're trying to roster a fourth outfielder, I don't want to have to choose between four guys who don't hit and don't field well. And for all of them to be doing that at the same time, I'd say probably the only one that's looked good in the outfield, and this is the one thing that you can control is how you play the outfield. You and your mental side of how you're playing the game. That's the thing that you can control. Obviously you can do with whatever's within your within your grasp of trying to hit the ball, but pitchers also have a say in this. The one thing that you can control almost all of is your routes in the outfield and who you throw the ball to, and like the mental aspect of that as a lifelong outfielder, to have to choose between several guys who are all not playing well at the same time. There should at least be one of them that looks halfway decent. And right now none of them do. That's
Right.
my issue. So I don't know
Right.
who you want to roster as your fourth outfielder. Do you want to do like a Hanser Alberto and then have to keep Larry Garcia around just because he does play the outfield, knowing full well that he's going to do the
Oof.
stuff that he's been doing lately?
Oh,
Hanser Alberto can
no.
also play the outfield, but he's not an outfielder by trade. He's an infielder.
Right.
So, again, you're putting somebody out of position, even though he's technically a utility guy and can play the outfield. It's not his first position. Yeah, you could always count on Engel for that, but he just played in his first Cactus League game against the White Sox on Sunday. That was his first game because he's had a strained calf for the first 3 weeks or first 4 weeks of
Imagine
camp.
that.
Yeah, imagine.
Achy legs.
Yeah, exactly. It's only a matter of time until it goes up to his hamstring, and then he's out for another month and a half. You know,
And it's terrible too because I really like the guy. I mean, he
and
plays
he
with a
would
lot of
be.
heart. He's a great defender, and when he's on, he can swing it a little bit. But we don't know, when he's going to be healthy because who knows? Those times when he was swinging a little bit might have been healthy Adam Engel. The times that he wasn't swinging it so much, he was probably playing through some kind of ache because the dude's just achy. He's achy.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. That's as Grimtall says, and that isn't that his mo in the minors, right? No, that's always his mo. It doesn't matter where he's at. It's
Yeah.
always the hamstrings. Always the hamstrings.
And for a guy whose speed is one of his biggest trademarks, uh, that's an issue. That's a problem.
That's a problem. Yeah, completely aggravating. Yeah, so I like the trying to figure out who's going to be on the bench for this team is tough because there's, do you stick with who you know and who you owe money to in keeping Larry around, despite the fact that that the guy's a bonehead, a really really nice guy, and great for the
Pretty
clubhouse,
nice.
but
Yeah.
you know, can you justify keeping him around if every time you put him in a game, there's some sort of miscue, whether it be mental or just like lack of skill
Look,
set,
the amount of times last season where the White Sox were within striking distance of a win in the eighth or ninth inning with guys on base, and Leary was the deciding batter. I mean, that was how many times it seemed like it happened
It was
4 times a week,
felt like it was
every
multiple
week,
times a week. Yeah, it was every
where
time.
he is the deciding at bat in an inning with guys on base and a win is at hand, and you can't get there.
So frustrating. It was like it felt definitely felt like it was numerous times a week that when the game was on the line, who comes up to the plate? I mean, have you seen his at bats?
I knew it was coming. I was waiting.
If you have seen his at bats, you know that he shouldn't be coming up to the plate. But here he is. Um, yeah, so I don't know. That's one of those things that I'm really interested to see how things come down to the I assume that these decisions are going to come down to the wire about who they're keeping, and with the way things have been going so far, and with the fact that a lot of the mistakes have been mental from this guy, you know I saw Jordan Lazowski tweet about it yesterday and say that he doesn't understand, like he doesn't see how Larry can have a roster spot at this point. And I have to 100% agree. It's just, his play has been so lackluster that I just don't see how they roster him at this point. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Yep.
Blurg. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's been some positive things, coming out of camp, and it's nice to see that everybody's rounding out the form. Giolito's looked really good. For most part, like, and Clevenger pitched pretty well. I mean, he did give up that home run the other day, but I mean, he looked pretty decent. Like, I'm not gonna complain about what I saw from him. His changeup looked really good. His curveball looked really good, and he was throwing 95, 96 miles an hour. So, you know,
Yeah, first start in spring, our first, you know, A team start for in
yeah.
spring. Uh, yeah, not bad. Not bad.
Thank Tony for that. I assume that's about
Oh,
Wavery. Um,
oh
some
yeah, way that. Yeah,
somebody had the nerve to
for
tell
sure.
me to get over it. Never, and nobody should ever have to explain why. Yeah, no, I 100% agree.
Well, no, and we've touched on that a lot here. Get over it, get over
Yeah,
it. We did a show a couple weeks ago where I was basically saying, tired of hearing it's early. It's early. There's time. There's so much time. Ah, don't worry about it. It's only June. They're only 5 games out. They can heat up. No, this is when they heat up. Is when the weather heats up. This is when the Sox heat up. And we heard for so long. We're going, no, man. Wait a minute. We've been seeing these issues since last season. This is nothing new. And you're talking about, well, it's going to change. I don't want to hear that this year. I want to get right out of the gate. Let's get this thing going and rolling,
let's
and
hope.
get a good positive mindset going. Get some wins in your belt, because there's no bigger confidence booster than winning some tough games and grinding it out and battling and beating some good teams. The bum slaying isn't going to do it.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean, kind of the whole thing is that you know, I don't know if you've been hearing some of the things that have been coming out in interviews over the last week or so, but with Giolito and Sebi kind of alluding to the fact that there was pretty much no urgency put into anything last year in spring training. And it continued into the season, and that's why things just kind of never got rolling, is that urgency never got there. And I don't think that we're going to have to worry about that with with Pedro's message about all this stuff. And I'm hoping that, yes, that we see a little bit more, coming out of the gate, and that there's a sense of urgency there, and that these guys are trying to win every single game. Not that it's going to succeed, you know, every time, obviously, but at least it would be nice to see them,
Well, we
have.
haven't seen a team go 162-0 yet, so I mean, you're going to lose some games. Uh, let's just hope that the they win the games that they should win, because we saw a lot of that last year, where it's in the last few years, actually, I should say, where it didn't happen.
Yeah,
It was like they've been playing down to some of the opponents that on paper should be pushovers, and you know, just hope that if they win the games they're supposed to win, and then they pull out a few that maybe were supposed to be a little bit tighter, we could have a race on our hands.
yeah. Um, I don't know if you happen to check out that. Yeah, KC, they are winning a lot in spring training. I think they're like what, like 13-2 or 12-3 or something like that at this point.
Yeah,
Pretty
good for them.
insane.
They can
And
they can
imagine,
take that spring training trophy home with them too.
hey, that's cool and all, and it's cool to say that, but like the issue being is that they've got that new manager, and there's going to be that new manager bump, just like everybody's talking about with the White Sox. Um, my question, it just seems like those guys are playing hard, and their swing changes that they've made, they're all making contact. I mean, they put up 11 runs on Cease, and granted his command was not great, but they still did hit the ball, and they're still hitting the. They've been hitting the ball against everybody else too. So I mean, I would look for a little bit of a skill gap decrease between them and the rest of the teams in the division. And like we've been talking about this for a while that eventually these other teams are going to start catching up to the White Sox a little bit, and we just didn't think it was going to be because the White Sox were coming down, and
Yeah, we
not that
didn't
they hit
expect
a good spot.
we didn't expect the fall to be as drastic as it has been. But again, a lot of that is due to injuries. There has been some poor roster management along the way, but all in all, like we said, hopefully the organizational changes over the last few months here really going to show what the core of this team should be capable of as long as they stay healthy. We just haven't seen that core play together a whole lot yet. So, we could be in for a fantastic season. We could be in for more garbage. We really don't know, do we?
We do not. Had you asked me right after we got off stream last week and I watched Luis Robert strike out 3 times in a row without touching a pitch, I probably would have said,
We're doomed.
"Yeah, everything. It's all over." I think you guys are getting a taste of what it's like being Bears fan. Well, one of us two is a Bears fan, so
Hey, I was gonna
he's well
say,
aware of how that goes.
yeah. Well, yeah. I have been watching the Bears since I was about 4 or 5. My old man used to have me in the house. I probably picked up the screaming at the TV from him. But yeah,
Yeah,
so that I've been a Bears fan for 42, 43 years here. There's a lot of pain that comes along with that too.
yeah. That's my brothers were over and they heard old Rudels yelling at the TV downstairs, and they're like, "Oh, wonder where he gets that from." It just keep generational thing just keeps going and going and going.
I used to laugh at my mom. My mom would tell my dad, they can't hear you, right?
Yeah,
They can't hear you, right?
yeah. Oh no, they can. They can. Yeah, if I yell loud enough, they'll hear me through it. It's fine. Um, you got anything else this week that you got
Nah,
burning your brain?
nah, no. Just like I said, I said this to you before we went live on stream, and I hope that Liam's treatment and everything goes well because I really, man, I'm gonna get in his DMs, dude. I'm gonna get in his DMs when he's ready to come back, and I'm gonna try to convince him to take Bro Him from Pennywise as his entrance music to close out games. Because if you guys don't know the song, I suggest you go find your favorite purveyor of music and look up the song Bro Him by Pennywise. But there is a nice, almost chant like section in there that I think would be electric at SAS games. So, you know, when you go out and listen to that song, if hit Liam up with those DMs too, because and hit it at me when you do. Hit him up on Twitter and in the Insta, because I want to make this thing happen, man. I want to see it. I can't imagine. I don't just imagine the entire stadium rocking the oh, that would be amazing. 40,000 fans doing that. Pretty awesome stuff, I would think.
Oh yeah.
So that's that.
Yes, indeed, sir. Well, I think that'll call it for the for this week. Got another about 2 weeks or so of spring training ish. So get several broadcasts in before then. At Daily White Sox on Twitter, you will see highlights of all the preseason stuff. Once the season starts, you'll see some White Sox stuff, but you'll see all of the minor league stuff. Can't wait for that. That's gonna be fun. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook. We also have pages on those. Just go ahead and search White Sox Daily and whitesoxdaily.substack.com. I know Dan Victor's got a article that's coming out soon on a certain very tall guy. won't say any names because I don't want to ruin it for him. But that's coming out shortly. Um, and yeah,
I
we'll
mean,
see
if
you
you've been
guys.
following us at all, you'd probably figure it out. But
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but we'll be back next Tuesday at 9. If you've voted for me in the 108 tourney, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And
we'll get them next year, man.
yeah, we'll get out there next year, get some ideas going, formulated in my head. Hopefully we get back there. And like I said, I was shocked that it was happening in the first place. So, it's just kind of weird.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly. Ladder Enjoyer,
yeah,
very
ladder. You
very
might be
good.
onto something there.
Yeah. So we will be back next week, and we thank you guys for coming and hanging out, and thanks for hopping in the chat. We appreciate it. Hopefully, we've got some awesome stuff to talk about next week. WBC will continue rolling on here, and like I had mentioned earlier, if you are bored and want to watch the WBC, I know that From the 108 and Sox Machine have been combined doing watch parties on a website of the WBC, some of the WBC games. Go ahead and hop on there with them. It's a good time. And thanks, guys. We appreciate it. And we will see you guys next week. Have a good night. Thanks.